The meeting has started recording. I'm just now waiting for the YouTube to start the live stream. Okay, Mr. Chair, we are live, and there are 15 attendees now that have joined us.
Thank you, Emily. Well, welcome everybody to the September 14th Planning Commission.
Oop, that was my bad.
Yeah, I didn't write this, but I am going to read it.
Sorry, go ahead.
November 9th, rather. Thank you, John. Hey, John, can you cover the governor's executive order regarding the virtual meeting?
John, you're on mute.
Thank you for the heads up. In response to the COVID situation, the governor has extended the allowance for virtual meetings to the end of the year. And so this meeting is being conducted virtually based on certain rules and procedures. And those procedures include posting our agenda information online and conducting all business using a roll call vote. So we'll start the meeting with a roll call vote, and every action item will be conducted using a roll call vote. We've also provided an opportunity via our YouTube link where the public can monitor these proceedings as well as to participate. And I know, Chair, you will cover that once we get started. Do you want me to go with the roll call?
Yes, please.
Okay, just to confirm those who are present with us today, Todd Lehman.
Here.
Commissioner Greg Martin.
Here.
Y.L. Coker.
Here.
Dave Matthews.
Here.
Chris Mabey.
Here.
Jimmy Parks.
Here.
Barry Payne. Barry Payne. Okay. Blythe Bailey.
Here.
Councilman Ledford.
Yes, here.
Thomas Palmer.
Here.
Mary Kay Hyatt.
Here.
Adam Verone.
Here.
Jason Farmer.
Here.
Ethan Collier.
Here.
Chair, we do have a quorum present.
Thank you, John. As a reminder, all attendees must register prior to today's meeting to speak. The information was provided to applicants and public stakeholders as part of the RPA's notification procedures. It's also posted on RPA's website. Emily, I'm assuming you're directing everybody that's already signed up.
Yes.
You've got some additional instructions for them.
Yes. When it's your time to speak after the chair calls the case, I will unmute you and allow you to enter the meeting to speak for that case. Once the case is finished, then you'll be muted and you can still participate in listening to the meeting, but you won't be allowed to speak any further.
All right. Anything else?
Oh, and this meeting is different than previous meetings. The chat function has been disabled, so the attendees cannot use the chat to ask questions.
Okay. That's great. Well, we've had some experience at doing this now and probably gotten a little bit better at it. Our last meeting was conducted in person. So if you're here and you're an attendee, just bear with us as we kind of work through this. It's certainly different than the way that we would have normally done it. And thank you for being here. I've got all of this that's highlighted in yellow that I'm responsible for reading. I apologize in advance. It is important and I do have to cover it. But for the sake of time, I'm just going to read it and make it as quick as possible. So as a part of my opening remarks, I will note our typical procedures for review of each case item, but highlight some of the differences to this being a virtual meeting. Planning commissioners have received the staff reports for the cases on today's agenda and have had time to review the case information prior to this meeting. We will use the following procedure for cases. For each case with a recommendation to approve or approve with conditions, I will ask the staff if anyone has notified staff that they would like to speak in opposition to the case or to the conditions. If there's no one, unless a PC member requests a staff presentation, we will proceed to a roll call vote. For staff recommendations to deny or for cases with registered speakers, we will start with a staff presentation. Following the staff presentation, if there are no questions from PC members, I will ask for the applicant to be recognized. A staff person will move the registered speaker into this forum with the Planning Commission, unmuting them and allowing them to speak. If for some reason your name is called and staff does not unmute you, how would they let us know? Because my notes say that they would let us know through the chat box. So I guess they would maybe send an email or something. What would we do if we call somebody in and can't connect with them since the chat box isn't open?
They can call me on my office line. It's 423-643-5939. And I can try to communicate with them that way if you prefer.
So what we'll do is we'll put that in the chat box. So if your name is called or you're brought into the meeting, then, and for whatever reason, we're not able to hear you, Emily will put her phone number back in the chat box so that you can call her and we can figure out what to do. So in each case, the applicant will have 7 minutes to present their request. Please note that there will be a time clock displayed on the screen that will keep track of your remaining time. If there's any opposition, the total time allotted for opposition is 9 minutes. If there are multiple speakers for opposition, I sometimes have to interrupt people and ask them to wrap up their remarks. I apologize in advance. It's probably one of the more difficult things I have to do, which is cut people off midway, but there's only 9 minutes total, and we want to make sure that we can hear from everybody. So sometimes I'll have to do that, and like I said, I apologize in advance for that. If you're speaking in opposition, just make sure that you're not repeating things that have already been said. And then just keep in mind that there are other people that want to talk, and there's only 9 minutes total. The applicant will have 2 minutes to respond. Please direct your comments to Planning Commission and not to the audience or the applicant. Once Planning Commission takes action, if you have any questions, please put your questions and contact information, maybe to Emily or the staff at RPA. Maybe it'd be a good idea to put an email in that chat box, an email address where they can direct their questions, because previously we would have allowed for them to kind of communicate through the chat box in regards to questions. Note that for most requests other than subdivision, Planning Commission makes a recommendation and final action on the request is taken by local council or commission the following month. Allowing another opportunity for input, staff will post next meeting dates on cases in the chat box. We will now proceed with today's agenda. John, is there anything else that I did not cover?
I think just all I would add is just the importance of, and just we'll continue to announce that to register ahead of time before the PC meeting. The deadline is Friday, and we do include that in the our emails to the applicants and notifications of property owners. But just while we're in this public meeting, just remind folks out there that for all future PC meetings, as long as we're meeting virtually, you'll need to register the Friday before the PC meeting, and there's a link on our homepage to do that. And so just appreciate you all working with us as we kind of work in this new format. That's all.
Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. I guess, Emily, I do have one question. Do we have anybody here in opposition to the fourth agenda item? It's under old business. It's 2020-0141.
No.
Okay, so they've asked to withdraw. We need to take action on that.
We do, since it was deferred at last month's Planning Commission meeting, we need to take action.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and do that if we could. In regards to case 2020-0141, the applicant has requested to withdraw this case. Is there any questions? I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to withdraw.
Second.
We have a motion to withdraw. Any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye at roll call.
Lehman,
Aye.
Martin, Commissioner Martin. Okay, I'll come back to him. Coker.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Coker.
Yes.
Matthews.
Aye.
Maybe.
Aye.
Parks.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yeah.
Ledford.
Yes.
Palmer.
Yes.
Hyatt.
Yes.
Barone.
Yes.
Farmer.
I recuse myself on this vote.
Okay, is recused. All right, noted. Motion passes.
Hey, John, can we get who made the motion second? I believe that was Ledford on the motion. Who was second?
Matthews.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, and then the only other change to the agenda is item 11 on the agenda, which is mandatory referral 2020-0158. We'll move to the last item on the agenda. All right, so the first item on the agenda is SD 2020-0032. This is for preliminary plat at Lake Breeze subdivision phase 3. It's lots 110 through 136, and this has a staff recommendation to approve with conditions. Emily, is there any opposition present?
No opposition.
Okay, and
Move to approve with conditions. Second.
we have a motion to approve, and it has been properly seconded. Emily, is the applicant present?
I'm looking,
Emily, that'd probably be Dr. Sarath Gangavarapu or Cornerstone Surveying.
if you are either of those and you're present, can you raise your virtual hand, please? Not seeing anyone.
Okay, well, typically we'd want to hear whether or not there was any question from the applicant in regards to the conditions. But I don't know that we're able to.
Mr. Chairman, this is Brian. The condition on this case is approval of septic tanks by the health department.
Okay. All right.
Oh, I have a hand now. Let's see.
Mike
Oh,
Price.
it's Mike Price. I'm going to allow you to talk, Mike. You should be able to talk now.
Thank you. Mike Price, we're fine with that condition.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for bearing with me. I just wanted to make sure we heard from the applicant. We do have a motion that has been properly seconded to approve with conditions. Any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye at roll call.
Aye.
Lehman,
Aye.
Martin,
Aye.
Coker,
Aye.
Matthews,
Aye.
Maybe,
Aye.
Parks.
Aye.
Is Payne joined us or not yet? Okay. Bailey.
John, Barry
Aye.
Payne has joined us. Can you give him another moment to make sure his audio is working? I just brought him into the meeting.
Okay, I'll do the rest. And I'll come back to him. How about
Okay.
that? Bailey,
Aye.
Ledford,
Yes.
Palmer,
Yes.
Hyatt,
Yes.
Barone,
Yes.
Farmer.
Yes.
Okay, coming back to Payne.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries, Chair.
All right. Thank you. Next item on
Second
the,
on that motion.
Who is the second for the record?
who seconded that motion?
Farmer made the motion.
I have Councilman Ledford as a second on that.
Yeah, I second it.
All right. Next item on the agenda is case 2020-0127. This is the first item under old business. And this is located at 111 Bush Street, and it's a rezone from R1 residential zone to ERA3 urban edge residential attached. This case has a staff recommendation to approve. Emily, is there any opposition present?
There is Camille Broadway.
Okay. And I'm assuming the applicant is present.
Let me verify. Should be Glenn Craig and Richard Bacon.
Okay. All right, so we'll hear first from staff on this, then we'll hear from the applicant and opposition.
And I see the applicant Glenn Craig is on.
Okay.
Okay, this is a request to rezone from R1 residential zone to form-based code, urban edge, residential attached, 3 stories. Proposed use is single unit and single unit attached dwellings. The approximate acreage is 0.51 acres in size. Proposed number of units is 8 with a density of 15.6 dwelling units per acre. This property is located North Chattanooga or North Shore, 111 Bush Street. You can see it highlighted on the screen in the yellow here. Here's a Bush Street and the site. This is a view of the site looking from Bush Street. This is a view looking south directly across to the site along Bush Street. This is a view looking east from the site along Bush Street. This is a view looking west of the site along Bush Street. And this is a view just north of the site along Ziegler Street. You see it's pretty much all single family detached with the exception of the recreation center that was to the south of the site. This property is currently zoned R1. To the north of the property is zoned R1 and C2. To the south is R1. To the east is R1. The southeast you have C2 and R4. And then to the west is R1 and form-based code. There's been no recent zoning history for this site. I have the site highlighted in yellow with the purple box. That's the current site requesting the rezoning. If you look to the west or to the left of the screen, in 2018 along 511 May Street, this property was rezoned from R1 to urban edge, residential attached, 2 stories. It was just outside the form-based code boundary, which is highlighted in the red. So there is no zoning history on their site, but there is history nearby of extending the form-based code to these property general area. This is currently used as a church and vacant land. To the north is residential. To the south and east is residential and commercial uses. To the west is residential and uses. This is in the Hill City Plan, which is adopted in 2003. The Hill City Plan recommends mixed-use neighborhood for this particular piece of property. Mixed-use neighborhood is described as single-family residential as well as offices that are in their original structure. Again, this plan is more than 17 years old. So that is the plan recommendation we still follow. However, when the form-based code was adopted, there was a vision for the urban edge for this community and established increased densities near Cherokee, Fraser, and North Market corridors. We look into form-based code. The code does allow expansion of the form-based code zones. This is what the requirements are for expansion of that boundary. Property that is in close proximity to the form-based code boundary. This is in close proximity. It doesn't give a dimension or a set distance. It just says close proximity. If you look to your left, that red line, that is the form-based code boundary that was originally adopted. As I stated earlier, these 2 properties just to the right of that boundary were rezoned form-based code in 2018. The physical character of the property is consistent with the overall character of the nearest form-based code context area, and the property is included in the downtown plan. So those are the requirements we look at or criteria we look at when reviewing these cases. So staff recommended to approve the request. While the request is not fully compatible with the recommendation of the adopted land use plan, again, that plan was adopted in 2003, it is fitting with the goals of the form-based code. It does meet the criteria expansion of the form-based code boundary, and the proposed use is compatible with the surrounding land uses and is comparable to more recent developments nearby within the neighborhood. So staff recommends to approve this request.
Thank you, Brian. Hey, Brian, just a aside, I'm intimately familiar with the ERA2
Right.
next to this, and there's a host of conditions on that, and I think one of them was that it be detached. So just 2 years ago, staff, for whatever reason, and so I'm just curious, it just makes me think about the number of times we reference zone, but we don't necessarily reference the conditions that went with that zone.
Right. Right. And because, staff, I'm not sure, you probably, I don't know if those came from staff or is that city council level. We as staff have tried not to place conditions on form-based code. We have had several at city council that do get conditions placed on them. And so that may be the history on that site. I know you're familiar with that site. So yeah, as far as the presentation, we do try to put the conditions in the staff report. I just don't cover them in my presentation. If you'd like, I can start adding those conditions to the presentation.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting because normally I wouldn't even know something, normally we wouldn't even know, but it looks like a residential attached zone because it is, but it has a condition that it be detached.
Detached only.
So, it's just one of those little nuances that we would miss as planning commission members.
Right. Right. Yeah, I'll be glad to start adding those to the presentation. I do sometimes they're really long conditions.
Yeah, I guess where it especially impacts
Okay.
density and that sort of thing, I think it could be helpful.
Not a problem.
Emily, we've got the applicant. Can we go ahead and put them on?
Since Emily stepped away, I will go ahead and add Glenn Cregan. If you give me one moment.
Mr. Chairman, can I request some clarification while we're waiting on Mr. Craig?
It's hard to hear you, Blythe.
Oh, if I talk louder, does that make it better?
Well, it does. Yes. Thank you.
Oh, good. I was just asked, I did not follow what you were referring to, and I didn't want to get too far away from it without, are you saying that the form-based code nearby has conditions that you would want to make note of, or are there conditions that are being suggested?
I think I understood your question. All I was pointing out is that the ERA2 that Brian was referring to has conditions on it. Brian, can you point to that? That has conditions that it be single family detached. And so oftentimes we're referencing other adjacent zones. And in the case of form-based code, we're looking at that ERA2 like it's residential attached, and it's not. It was ERA2, but it has a condition that it be detached. And I just think that's relevant information in this case.
That clarifies. Thank you.
Okay. Were we able to get Glenn?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Craig, we can hear you.
Okay. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, the floor is yours to present the case.
Well, as stated, it's 111 Bush Street. We're looking at putting 6 units currently on this piece of property per our little site plan that was submitted. We have had a neighborhood meeting, actually a couple, and there were some expressed concerns about some of the things you're talking about. And they were asking us to go to an ERA2, to a 2-story product, which is, we are fine with that. The developer is fine with doing that. You seem to have some questions about attached versus detached. Our intent is to have a detached product for this property. I'm not sure what else I need to present.
Question, Chairman, if I may.
I'm sorry, I didn't see who that was. Who was that?
Ledford.
Oh, Councilman Ledford. Yes, sir.
Hey, Mr. Craig, quick question. Did you just say the neighborhood community wanted to go to ERA2? And you,
They asked us
you
if
were
we
okay
would,
with that?
if we would be happy to go to ERA 2. Yes, our proposed project is a 2-story, not a 3-story.
Okay, so you don't need the listed, we have listed in our packet ERA 3.
Originally, and then we deferred and had that meeting, and it was discussed to go to the ERA 2.
Okay.
The intent of the client is to go with a 2-story.
So my question would be, John, can we change that right here as an amendment?
Yes, because it's consistent. It's the same zone. It's just a different height restriction.
Okay, I'll reserve until we hear from the opposition before I make a motion, but thank you. That's the only question I had, Chairman. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Matthews.
Yeah, Glenn, this is David Matthews. I understand you just said, I think you said 7 units and your site plan has 8. Does that change?
It changed to a new site plan. I'm not sure that you have that. This project originally was the 4 single and then the attached 4 units for 8. We have gone back to the table and we're looking at 6 detached.
Okay, thank you.
Staff would like to remind Planning Commission, again, you all are not approving a site plan, you're approving the zone at this location.
So,
Yeah, we understand that.
so Brian, quick question for you. I saw this happen on the last case, which is why I was referencing it, the property next door, where form-based code was supposed to, I'm not knocking form-based code, please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anything negative about it. But what the zoning being asked for is one that currently would allow 3-story townhomes over the entire property. Am I correct?
That is correct. That is correct.
Okay, and we're not approving a site plan.
That is correct.
And the applicant is saying, what we've just heard him say is that we're going to do single family detached and we're going to limit the height to 2-story. So the RA2 keeps it to 2 stories, right?
Correct. There's nothing that prohibits. Go ahead.
Is there a zone that limits it to detached only, or does that end up having to come through as a condition?
You could do it, number one, as a condition, of course. Preferably, it would be a zone, which would be the RD2 zone. It'd be the urban edge RD. Right now,
would that meet their minimum lot size though, based on what?
No, we couldn't do that. We need to stick with the ERA 2 or 3.
There's your answer.
It makes sense. Okay. So, Glenn, this is Ethan. Is the plan then to access garages from that unopened alley and open that alley, or what's the plan in regards to how those properties?
We would prefer to have rear loaded drives to get off the street again, but that's going to come, as said, in the later plans as we figure out what CDOT's going to require and some of the other, site planning issues that we have to overcome. So right now we just have to get the correct zoning so we can see what that's going to be, but we would prefer rear loaded. I don't know about opening the alley because there is some encumbrances on that alley currently. So we may have to use just the rear part of our property.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant? All right. Karen or Emily, I understood there'd be somebody in opposition.
Yes, so you have Camille Broadway, and I am allowing Ms. Broadway to speak now. Ms. Broadway, you may need to unmute the mic on your end, but you should be able to speak.
All right, can you hear me?
We can, yes, thank you.
All right, thank you. And thank you, Emily, for getting me into this meeting and on the speakers list. I am a homeowner at 104 Bush Street, which is just south of this property on the other side of the street. The design firm and the developer have both worked with us and the immediate neighbors and with the neighborhood association. We are opposed to RA3. We would prefer that it be zoned RA2, and we also would prefer that it be zoned, or excuse me, that a condition be placed on it that they be detached houses. I understand that our current developer and the current architect plan to do detached homes on the property, but we feel like a condition would help give us insurance in case, God forbid, something happened and they weren't able to go through with their project and the property ended up being sold, so that we have assurances that whoever might develop the property would put a detached homes on the property. Our other concerns were about parking, which is, again, the architect and developer have indicated willingness to look at rear parking and accessing that through a central driveway. If that can be done, that would help. Bush Street is very narrow, and because of the recreation center that is the end of it, street parking can become very scarce and rare at times. The side of the street where this is being developed is, of course, a fire lane, so there's no street parking on the north side of the street and only on the south. So parking, of course, is a big concern for those of us who live on Bush Street. The other concerns of our neighborhood association is that there is a large tree on the property. You really couldn't see it in the picture they put up of the church, but it's to the left. It's primarily on the northwest corner of the property, but it does, the root system, the branches do go into other neighbors' yards and whatnot. So it's mostly on this property, but certainly the canopy covers more than just the property in question. So the neighborhood association especially has been interested in making sure that the tree is protected to as much as possible. And part of the new drawings that they showed the neighborhood association 2 weeks ago, the tree was preserved and the sixth house was adjusted in terms of size and shape so that it sits in front of the tree. And the tree is preserved as part of the development. The neighborhood association has met 3 times about this, including again most recently in their regular November meeting. And at the November meeting, that was when they asked the neighborhood association president to contact the architect and developers about placing conditions on the zoning for the property.
All right, thank you. Any questions for opposition? All right, applicant's got 2 minutes to respond.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can.
We had the meeting with them, and we do not have a problem with the ERA2, and we are the product mix that we're looking at is detached.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion, please.
Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to make a motion to approve. And the first condition would be adding in there would be from ERA3 to ERA2. And the second condition would be a maximum of 6 detached units. And those are the only 2 conditions I want to apply here since there were such detail the opposition had listed. I would like an opportunity for Chairman Henderson, and I have talked with him about this case, to work through any other conditions that the developer and or the applicant can work through in the next month that might satisfy the concerns of the residents. But I would like to make a motion with those 2 conditions, please.
Thank you.
Chair, if I
Mr.
may
Chairman,
add
Mr.
a
Chairman,
note.
I was gonna say, John, that's not, the first condition is not needed as a request to be the ERD2. So you wouldn't need a condition on that end.
Very good. All right, then.
No.
It's ERA2, ERA2.
ERA2.
I'm just going to make one note, just on Councilman Ledford, I'm assuming your intent is single family detached only.
That is
correct?
correct, sir. Yes. Yes.
I
sir.
would
That's
make
my
that
intent.
be clear for single family detached only, not to exceed 6 units, just to be real clear.
That would be perfect. Thank you, John.
All right, just to repeat that motion, we have a motion to approve ERA2 with a condition that there be 6, no more than 6 single-family detached, and that only there be single-family detached. Hopefully I've captured that right.
That is my intent from my
Okay.
motion. Thank you.
We have a motion, I need a second.
Second.
All right, we have a motion that has been properly seconded.
Mr. Chairman, if I may make a comment.
Mr. Maybe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to note, so I do plan on voting in favor of this motion. I think it's good to see that the builder and the neighborhood have been able to work it out, but I just wanted to give some feedback, at least in my opinion of it, to staff, that I do agree with their original recommendation that a townhome product, I believe, would be appropriate in this area, just for future reference. Thank you.
So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye at roll call.
Lehman,
Aye.
Martin,
Pass.
okay, pass. Coker,
Aye.
Matthews,
Aye.
maybe,
Aye.
Parks,
Aye.
Payne,
Yes. Sorry.
Bailey,
Yes.
Bailey?
Sorry. Yes.
yes, okay. Ledford,
Yes.
Palmer,
Yes.
Hyatt,
Yes.
Barone,
Yes.
Farmer.
Yes.
Motion passes, Chair.
All right, next case on the agenda is case 2020-0136, and this is located at 3104 East 38th Street. And it's an application to rezone from R1 residential zone to R2 residential zone. This has a staff recommendation to deny. Is there any opposition present?
No,
Is the applicant present?
I don't see him on here. Andrew Massley, if you're on, will you please raise your virtual hand? He had to miss last month due to having COVID, and I had not received any response of him for this month if he was going to be in attendance or not.
Okay, just remind everybody, we have a staff recommendation to deny, and there is no opposition present, but also.
Move to deny.
There you go.
Second.
We have a motion to deny. It has been properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Lehman,
Aye.
Martin, Coker,
Aye.
Matthews,
Aye.
maybe,
Aye.
Parks,
Aye.
Payne,
Aye.
Bailey,
Aye.
Ledford,
Yes.
Palmer,
Yes.
Hyatt,
Yes.
Barone,
Yes.
Farmer.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Bridger. Next case on the agenda is case 2020-0139. This is located at 7504 Old Lee Highway, and it's an application to rezone from R4 special zone to C2 convenience commercial zone. This case has a staff recommendation to deny. Emily, is there any opposition present?
No, there's not.
And is the applicant present?
I believe, yes, William Dixon is here.
Okay. All right, Mr. Schultz, we've seen this before, but if you could just remind everybody of what we're looking at.
Sure. This is a request to rezone from R4 to C2, proposed brick company. It's 7.41 acres in size. Located at 7504 Old Lee Highway. You can see the site on your screen highlighted in yellow here. Here's I-75. Here's Old Lee Highway. This is Bonnie Oaks. This is the view of the site looking from Old Lee Highway. This is the site to your right. This is a view looking north on Old Lee Highway. This is a view south of the site along Old Lee Highway. And this is a view looking south against Old Lee Highway. And here's an aerial view. Here's the site itself. Here's the intersection of Bonnie Oaks and Old Lee Highway. Again, it's currently zoned R4. To the north is C2 and R2. To the east is A1 and R2. To the south is C2 and M2. And to the west is C2 and M2. It's important to note that this does seem like there's a lot of C2 uses on this side of the interstate. In reality, these are more like office uses, even though they have C2. I'll go through the uses in just a second. You'll see where that stands out or why that's important. Most of the true commercial uses are across the interstate on the other side of I-75. In 2016, this site was rezoned from C2 to R4. And in 1982, the abutting property to the south was zoned C2. This is the site itself. It's currently vacant land. To the east is single family detached. Again, to the south, you have office uses. But again, most of that's zone C2, but most of those uses are office type uses. Again, the true commercial C2 uses are to the west across I-75. This is in the White Oak Mountain Area Plan, which is adopted in 2019. The place type recommendation for this property is mixed residential. That is defined as low density residential with housing clustered near community destinations such as schools and commercial centers. The suggested residential density of a mixed residential place type is over 7 dwelling units per acre. So again, the area plan recommends mixed residential for this property. The White Oak Mountain Area Plan also focuses on centers. So you can see here the highlighted in the red. This is the location. I know it's hard to see, but this is the location of the request. Centers approach. Commercial uses are strategically located at the village center north of the site, which I've highlighted here in the orange yellow arrow. That's the closest center, which is Atchison Pike and Old Lee Highway. This site's further south. Light manufacturing and employment is suggested as being part of the center approach. Clustering of these mixed uses promotes walkability and may support future transit or alternative transportation nodes. The mixed residential place type promotes multifamily as a transitional use between the more intense uses and the surrounding residential neighborhoods. Again, it's very important to keep in mind that the White Oak Mountain Area Plan focuses on centers and suburban commercial. This area is located outside both of those, as this place type recommendation is mixed residential. That being said, staff recommends to deny the request. The request is not compatible with adjacent land uses or the surrounding development form, again, which is office and residential. The C2 zone does allow for higher density residential housing. The adopted area plan supports the retention of multifamily housing as a transition between commercial and low density residential areas, and looks to focus commercial uses within designated commercial centers. Again, that center is to the north along Atchison Pike and Old Lee Highway, or expanding commercial uses outside the centers to the south. So staff recommends to deny this request.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Any questions for staff before we hear from the applicant?
I have a couple. Chairman.
Ludford.
Thank you, sir. This is in my district, Brian, as you know, and we deferred this last month. So
Right.
my question is, when we're talking about, we have the place types of the offices nearby, and O1 does not allow us to have an outdoor storage facility, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And the other question I have is in relation to the A1 property that's behind it. And I guess little concerns about connectivity. This does not involve that A1 property that's locked back behind it.
That's correct. What's highlighted in the red square is the property requested rezoning. That A1 will remain. I assume that A1 was way back when the R4 was rezoned as a buffer. But it is not part of this request.
Okay, that's right. I'll hold the questions to a little bit further. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councilman. All right. Emily, could we pull in the applicant?
Yes, I'm going to allow William Dixon to enter the meeting. Okay, you should be allowed to speak.
Thank you and good afternoon, Council. We are here to hopefully return this to a C2 zoning from the R4 zoning that it was for a different user. But we are also here to defer to the wisdom of the council and accept your recommendation either way.
Any questions for the applicant?
Chairman, I'll jump in if that's the end of the presentation. Mr. Dixon, hi. This is Councilman Ledford. This is in the district I represent. How are you?
Doing well.
Good. Have you had a chance to talk to the adjacent property owners and or any of the residents above that in Stonehenge that I represent as well?
We've had no people from Stonehenge contact us about any opposition at all.
Well, let me reverse that question, Mr. Dixon. Have you reached out to the residents, not them looking for you, because that's difficult for people to follow zoning at 1 o'clock on a Monday afternoon, and people don't always know what all that entails. Is kind of why I'm do what I do.
Sure. We have not facilitated any meetings to search out any negative feedback.
Okay, so my next question is the building and the showroom and all that doesn't seem unreasonable to me at all. I think the part that really grabs me when I'm looking at this and looking at the White Oak Mountain plan is the large graveled storage yard, or where everything is. Is that absolutely a must for your operation? And is there any way to move that storage to the rear and provide buffer along the highway instead of having it out front as per your site plan? I understand there's an elevation to consider too.
Right. Unfortunately, that site is extremely topographically challenged. The site itself, where you see the gravel, will probably be 10 feet higher than Old Lee Highway itself, just from balancing what we can balance. But when you get towards probably the last third of the property, you get into some rock bluffs that are going to, they're going to be too expensive to remove to put the gravel behind any buildings. So we were hoping to use the power lines and some of the site to the south of the power lines for that use.
Okay.
Something that would typically be unusable for most other users, especially in R4 use.
Understood. Okay. I hate to say it, that's about the only questions I have right now, right? It's that gravel, the outdoor storage is really kind of driving me. The fact that we have not talked to the adjacent property owners, which have a very specific type of layout, is a very concerning to me. And I have to say, I would be very uncomfortable at this point to recommend going against staff recommendation. I'll just leave that as it is. And that's all the questions that I have at this time, Chairman. Thank you.
As far as the A1 is concerned, I'm not sure when that A1 came into place, but I know that having been on the property and walked the property, I don't know if you can really get to that A1 site without some extreme equipment.
All right. Any other questions for the applicant? Thank you, Mr. Dixon. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to make a motion to recommend staff's denial, and I make that motion in the form of a motion, please.
Okay, we've got a motion to deny. For a second.
Second.
It has been properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye at roll call.
Lehman,
No.
Martin,
Pass.
Coker,
Aye.
Matthews,
Aye.
Maybe,
Aye.
Parks,
No.
Payne,
No.
Bailey,
Yes.
Ledford,
Yes.
Palmer,
Yes.
Hyatt,
Yes.
Ferone,
Yes.
Farmer.
No.
Okay, just give you the vote tally. It's 8, 4, and 4 against. For the record.
Motion carries. Is that right, John?
That is correct.
Okay, sorry. Thank you, everybody. Next case on the agenda is case 2020-0147. And this is located at 580 Fire Tower Road. And it's an application to rezone from A1 Agricultural District to R1 Single Family Residential District. This case has a staff recommendation to approve with conditions. Is there any opposition present?
Yes, there is, Mr. Chair. There are 2 people that wish to speak, although one was having technical difficulties, so we'll see if she's able to participate, but there's at least another person that's like to speak.
Okay, and is our applicant present?
Yes, I see Marshall Berry. And just for the record, there was also written opposition as well from the case that was sent via email too.
Okay. Thank you, Emily. We'll hear from Brian first, and the applicant, and we'll hear from the opposition.
Sure. This is a case 2020-147, request to rezone from A1 to R1 for single family residential district. Proposed use is a residential subdivision. It's located at 580 Fire Tower Road, 8234 and 8304 Ooltewah Georgetown Road. You can see the site highlighted in red on your screen. It's a very large site. This is a view looking at the site from Ooltewah Georgetown Road. And this is an aerial view of the site. This is the site itself highlighted in the yellow. You can see it's currently vacant. To the west of this picture, you do have single family detached subdivision. To the east or to the right of this picture, you have large single family detached dwellings on large lots. And then further south, you have a single family detached subdivision. And directly across the street from this site to the south of the picture, you have single family detached residential, as well as a subdivision that's going in currently. This is a view north looking on Ooltewah Georgetown Road, that subdivision that's nearby. This is a view west along Ooltewah Georgetown Road. And this is a view south of the site. It's currently zoned A1. To the north of this picture is R1 residential and A1. To the south is A1 and R1 with a PUD overlay. To the west is R1 and A1. They do have to the southwest is C2, little commercial node. But across the street from this site in the yellow stripe, that's a residential subdivision with a PUD. Then to the east, this is in Bradley County. The area that's whited out, the white, that's Bradley County. So I don't know their zoning, so that's currently A1 through here. Just some zoning history. There's no zoning history on this site, but to the south, further south, is the Seven Lakes PUD that was approved with some conditions. And the reason I'm highlighting this is one of our conditions that I'll discuss in the recommendation is coming from this staff recommendation, so we're consistent. And that's basically condition number 3. No land disturbing activity will be allowed above the elevation of 980. So that is precedent in the area. Also, since 2004, there have been 10 zoning changes from A1 to R1 and 7 residential planning developments that have been approved in this general vicinity. Again, just looking at some of the relationship here, everything around this property is single family detached, whether that's a subdivision or on large lots. This is in the Wolf Deeper Creek area plan, which was adopted in 2007. And it's highlighted in the red, the general location of this property. And on this property, there's 2 basic recommendations. One is low intensity residential and slope residential. Low intensity residential is primarily single family with a threshold of no more than 3 dwelling units per acre. Townhomes and other attached housing is appropriate as long as it's in a PUD and you keep the overall density of 3 units per acre or less. The slope residential designation is a category that is located in this area that contains steep slopes or significant grade changes, and that's the area highlighted in the darker brown. So you can see a little portion of this property is located in that slope designation. The plan recommends to avoid developing excessively steep regions to minimize the negative impacts of slope development in terms of viewshed destruction, water runoff, and hillside slumping. It is recommended that residential density should be limited to 1 dwelling unit per 2 acres in that category. The slopes of White Oak Mountain above the 980 topo line should not be disturbed. And again, that's where I mentioned earlier in that previous case, just for consistency, we have used that same condition in other requests. So staff recommendation is to approve this request with conditions following the recommendations of the Wolf Beaver Creek area plan. Maximum residential density of 3 dwelling units per acre. Again, that comes from the plan recommendation. Existing vegetation on the slope of White Oak Mountain shall be retained to the greatest extent possible. And finally, condition number 3, no land disturbing activity allowed above the 980-foot contour line as shown in Hamilton County GIS. Again, that condition is coming from previous zoning cases as well as the land use plan. Now, this is an aerial map with topos just to give you a sense of where that 980 topo line is. I know it's hard to see the entire site, but this is the majority of the site where it would be developed here. The 980 topo line is way back here in the rear. If you compare that to the subdivision to the north, that's where the 980 topo line follows, where no development occurred. So there was no site plan submitted with this request, as one's not required. We're going from A1 to R1. So again, staff recommend approve with those 3 conditions.
Thank you. Mr. Schultz, I've got a quick question for you.
Yes.
Maybe some other commission members do as well. The condition where the second condition, the end of that, it says greatest extent possible. How is that an enforceable condition?
I'll let John answer that if he wants to. Yeah, I don't know. That is pretty hard. What do you mean by greatest extent possible? I don't know if John has any thoughts on how that is enforced.
I do think that is, quite frankly, has got some issues. I think that mainly, Brian, you're just carrying that forward from some of the prior cases.
I think so. All those have come over from.
I think you bring up a good point in terms of enforceability. It's not as clear as it should be.
Yeah. What's the real intent there with? Is there something specific?
I think you were trying to maintain existing vegetation, trying to limit disturbance, but that's hard to do at times. I don't know how you describe that as far as a condition, and I think this was carried over, and I think you see the problems with that condition. There's no way for Hamilton County to enforce that, or what does that mean? That is very difficult.
Okay.
All I would say, Chairman Collard, probably one way it's done in the past, I know for the PUDs, is like it's a defined area, right? If you think where there's clearing limited to removal of invasive vegetation. I know you've done that in some other cases, but use that if there's a defined quote unquote open space area that you attach that condition to.
Got it. Any other questions for staff before we hear from the applicant?
I have one,
Mr. Chairman.
All right, Councilman Ledford, and then who else wanted to speak?
I just was going to confirm. I appreciate the discussion on item number 2. I think it's unenforceable.
Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. John, we have a proposal in right now that's being reviewed by the firm helping us with our zoning assessment. Would that steep slope vegetation component to what we're discussing at the council level, would this actually or could be applied if it were to pass and be carried over and the county were to adopt that plan as well? Could that be plugged into here to provide some of the specifics that the chairman is mentioning here? do you see that actually being applicable to a case like this?
I'm not, I would say it's more of a remediation standard. It's probably more actually in a regulation as opposed to a condition, because, it's a pretty, there's a process you have to go through, almost like a lot by lot level, for how you revegetate a site. So I'm not sure that would be a condition, because it's pretty, there's a narrative in that. I would say it's probably more than what you would want to throw out a condition. But I think what you're getting at is, as if there's a regulation that might address that concern, right?
That is, yeah, I'm looking down the road at something that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, and as you know, the county has their choices they make on that, as well as the city. And so it depends on what the county's wishes are.
Sure. Yeah, I don't want to further this case. I just that just really seemed interesting to me, that component could actually maybe plug in here. Thank you, Chairman.
I do have one more question for staff, just before we hear from the applicant. There's a condition that there be a 3 unit per acre density cap. Is that acreage including the entire piece of property?
Yes.
Or just the portion of the property?
It'd be the entire piece of property located in this zone where this property is being zoned. Because again, part of this property goes into Bradley County. This is only applied to the part being rezoned.
Okay.
So if he wanted to, he could not be seeking the zoning on the part that he can't build on and increase his density. Is that accurate?
Well, right now, based on, what was your question again?
In other words, you have the back part of that property that he can't build on, right?
Right.
The slopes.
The slope, the 980 line, yes.
But that's limiting him in terms of his density. If he changed it and decided he didn't want to, he could split this property and not zone the back part and increase the density on what he is developing. Is that correct?
I think so. Now, again, currently, just remember, he can develop this as currently zoned. The A1 zone has a limit of 2 dwelling units per acre.
Right.
Plus allows agriculture uses. Again, that 3 dwelling units per acre is coming from a policy which is established in that Wolf Deaver Creek area plan. And it's been consistent with previous cases in this general area.
But I guess, Brian, the reason I was asking the question is because is it then more often the case that when we're looking at 3 units per acre relative to the Wolf Creek area plan, that all of the acreage would be developable?
That is correct.
That's correct.
Chairman. It'd be for the entire tract. So kind of like A1, the overall gross density be a limit for the entire site. So you could cluster and have smaller lots on one.
It's almost like a PUD without calling it a PUD.
Okay. It just, I guess I'm having a hard time with it because we've drawn a line on the site plan and said, okay, this entire area can't be developed. And by the way, the area plan says, we're going to cap you at 3 units per acre. But, oh, by the way, R1 has all these requirements that might prevent this developer from even being able to get to comparable 3 unit per acre developments. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And maybe the developer will point that out. But it seems like when there's a line drawn on the plan that says you can't, and obviously it would be very difficult to develop anyways, but you can't develop this whole area. It feels like we're not giving any consideration for that.
Mr. Chairman, I think what you're saying is, yes, we're giving him 3 dwelling units per acre overall on the overall entire site, which is everything to the west of that 980 topo line. In reality, time he gets to building that, it may not be 3 dwelling units per acre, it may be less.
Right, because of the limitations under R1. And there isn't a PUD request that goes with this, right?
Not this time. It's just a straight zoning.
Okay, all right. Well,
Ethan, can I ask one question?
Mr. Farmer.
So, Brian or John, the applicant's request meets the White Oak plan, correct?
Yes, going from A1 to R1, it does. Again, there was no site plan submitted.
With no conditions. The applicant's request meets the White Oak plan with no conditions.
I would say I would caveat that with the condition of 3 units per acre as a cap for the overall. So yes, the zone is appropriate, but there's also, again, that's why Brian mentioned the prior case history. That's where we've used conditions also to align with the policy of the plan itself. The caveat is a 3 acre overall density cap for the entire site.
It's 121 acres. That'd be 360 units.
That is correct.
That's correct.
So you could net getting higher density on the remaining developable portion, if that was what you're asking.
Well, let's, I guess, hear from the applicant, and then I can further my question. Thanks.
Were there any other questions before we hear from the applicant? And we've got opposition to hear from as well. So we'll hear from the applicant first.
Okay, Marshall Berry, I'm unmuting you so you can speak.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can.
Good afternoon, council, and thank you for your time. Yeah, we're at the early design stages. We have not submitted a site plan. We plan on running a very, somewhat low density development of comparable nature to the surrounding areas. We don't anticipate, obviously, the disturbance of any vegetation in response to your concerns there. The topography is such that it obviously will not allow that. So I don't really foresee any issues with that. We've some other developments in the area, and the quality will be the same or better than what we've done in previous.
So just to clarify, Mr. Berry, you don't necessarily take issue with conditions 1, 2, or 3?
Correct. I would like to ask, we do have some property, pieces of that property that actually go up over the brow of White Oak, and they would be accessible possibly from Fire Tower Road on the mountaintop, just to make sure that we would be able to put an individual lot up there. Obviously, it would be exceeding the elevation line condition, but if it was accessed from the top on the brow, would that be an option or an issue?
I'm not sure where that's at, Mr. Chairman. Part of this, I think this is Fire Tower Road right through here. Part of this is in Bradley County, which is highlighted in the white area. I'm not sure where that property is at, what he's referring to. So that may be in Bradley County. Again, we're not zoning that part.
But it's also possible that it's in Hamilton County.
Yeah, I'm not sure where he's talking about on the property. Okay,
but what if he did want to put a driveway off Fire Tower Road and put, two houses back there, and it was on Hamilton County's property? The condition number 3 would prevent that, right?
That is correct, the way I'm reading that condition.
Was there any consideration when staff came up with item 3 or condition 3 for the possibility of developing the top of that property from the Bradley County side?
Again, yeah, we're not looking at Bradley. We were not looking at Bradley County. We're only looking at the Hamilton County side. And to be consistent, again, we've had that same condition on several properties along this side of Georgetown Road. And again, based on the plan, it does say limit disturbance in that slope category.
You mean it lists specifically the 980?
I didn't say 980. It just, I think it mentioned, let me go back to it. It's recommended to avoid developing excessively steep regions to minimize the negative impacts of slope development in terms of view shed destruction, water runoff, and hillside slumping. It's hard to tell on this map where that property line is in relation to that land use category. So to be consistent, we looked at other cases in this general area, which is 7 lakes. That's why I read that condition off. We've been trying to hold it at 980 topo line. If you go back to me find the site plan. The property just to the north, you can see the 980 topo line comes through here, right through here. So this development here was able to stay out of that steep slope or hillside.
Got it.
Chairman, if I may offer one idea as y'all deliberate on this.
Mr. Bridger.
One option may be if you're trying to really focus on the escarpment and not necessarily the top, right? There could be a topo line range, which I know we could probably not figure that out at this meeting, but that could be something that could be just food for thought. That's something to work out between now and county commission. If there's a range, topo line range to basically catch the escarpment, but not catch the top of the mountain.
I was looking at it. The Seven Lakes property doesn't go to the top of the mountain the way this piece of property does. And I think I remember, and I may be wrong, I have to go back and look at my notes. And when we were discussing the White Oak plan, we talked about making it available for people to be able to build individual houses on top of the mountain. We did not, that I remember, say that could not happen.
Yeah, you're probably true. That's in the White Oak plan. This is in the Wolf Beaver Creek. And Wolf Beaver Creek does allow you to develop it. I think the densities in that portion is 2 dwelling units per acre. Or sorry, 1 dwelling unit per every 2 acres.
Mr. Chair, if I may, to John's point, you could maybe condition that not above the 980 with access from Ooltewah, Georgetown Road, or something to that extent, or a range as John mentioned, but something about especially if the applicant's okay with it, but nothing above the 980 as access from Ooltewah, Georgetown, and that may allow him to do some stuff on top of White Oak Mountain from Fire Tower.
Okay. So, anything else before we hear from opposition? Okay, we'll hear from opposition.
Okay, first I'm going to bring in Marcy O'Rourke. I'm going to allow you to talk, Marcy.
Yes, can you hear me okay?
We can.
Okay, thank you. So thank you, council, for allowing me to speak. I'm a veterinarian that works at Bayview Farm. The farm is located directly across from this property. And I was surprised when I was looking at the pictures, I didn't see any reference to that particular spot on the property. We have horses directly across from the sign, the zoning sign of this property. The biggest concern, there's a couple, but the biggest concern is road safety. There was a death of a 40-year-old pedestrian just about 2 weeks ago at this exact location within a stone's throw from the zoning sign. There's several developments that's just in this particular area of Ooltewah Georgetown Road, turning left out of Georgetown Landing. We now are going to be battled with the new subdivision that's going up with another driveway less than 100 feet away. And now we will be adding this proposed property, and yet there's even another new proposed rezoning just to probably another, I'm going to guess, 200 feet further down. So the road safety is a concern with the residents here in this area. Not to mention also there's, to my knowledge, there's only volunteer fire department in this area. So we're concerned about the fire, the police, the road safety. Many residents are asking, why does this county allow the builder to have monetary benefits without sharing the cost of these concerns? Instead, we're concerned that the homeowners will then bear the burden with taxes, and yet the earmarked value of these taxes, they don't go towards these concerns. So there's just a lot of questions in regards to road concern, fire safety, and then last, the beauty of this particular area. As I said, I work with 45 horses there on this farm, and the horses are getting pushed off. I realize that probably not one person on this council is concerned about the beauty and the agriculture and the horses, but many here in this area are very concerned, and we just ask for you to please consider what's being done to this particular area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I'm going to bring in Janet Hayes. She was the one having some difficulty earlier. I see she's in the meeting, but I don't know that she has a microphone. Janet, I'm going to try to unmute you. Janet Hayes, if you're on and you can raise your virtual hand, if you're on your phone number, I only see you on the computer. I don't think that she was able to make it in, Mr. Chair. I think that she had trouble with accessing the phone call, and her personal computer does not have a microphone. But she also submitted written comments in opposition as well.
You have a copy of those comments?
I believe the Planning Commission received a copy. Let me see if I can pull them up here.
Maybe if we could just.
Let me see if I can read in the record. One moment. No, unfortunately, it looks like the comments were just that she was in opposition and was hoping to speak at the meeting. No specific details as to what she was opposed to, but I do know when speaking with her on the phone, she said several of the other neighbors in the area had concerns as well. And I let her know that she could voice those concerns to the county commission as well. Well, I see her hand is raised. Let's see. That looks like that's the same number I tried, or the same email I tried to let in, but unfortunately. And Joe Beeler says he spoke with Janet while trying to troubleshoot, and she stated she was representing multiple residents in opposition to the request.
All right, well.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Martin.
Can we have her call someone's phone and put her voice next to the speaker where at least we could hear some of what she's wanting to say from her? If she doesn't have the ability to get in technologically, I'm sure she could call someone's phone number. And then I know it would be muffled somewhat, but I would hate for this person to not get the opportunity to speak.
Can Emily, can you put your office line in that chat box and see if?
Yes.
Well, while we're waiting for her, just in regards to the previous comments from opposition, I think this, first of all, just to remind everybody, this is Planning Commission, not council. So I just say that in all due respect to our council men and women who have quite a bit more work to do than we do. And so this is commission, not council. But then also, it was stated that we probably don't care about the same types of things that the residents adjacent to a development like this care about. And, having had the opportunity to serve with this commission for 7 years, I can tell you that the commission does very much care about the concerns that people have. And there are some developers, including myself, who develop property, and those developers are doing a great job at building housing for our county and trying to balance the needs for housing at the same time the concerns that residents have. So, I just want to say and reiterate the fact that Planning Commission very, very much cares about the aesthetics. They very much care about the hillsides and the steep slopes and the trees and those sorts of things. We have a responsibility to balance that with the fact that a lot of people from all over the country want to move to Hamilton County for the same reason that the same opposition that is here today lives in a house on a piece of property that was previously farmland, was previously wooded, and by moving to that piece of property, they're now creating traffic. They drive up and down Ottawa Ringgold Road, which is a county road built by the county for the county. And so I just want to point out that these are decisions that we make. They're not as simple and cut and dry as they're often made out to be. So hopefully we can hear from this other lady that wants to speak in opposition, Emily. Or
Karen, I think,
Mr. Chairs,
Karen
Karen has her on the phone.
Okay, Karen.
Ms. Hayes, are you able to speak to the commission? And if you could speak up, just since you're on speakerphone.
Yes, ma'am. I can't hear anything that's going on. I was listening to the previous meeting, but a lot of my concerns and the concerns of a lot of neighbors here is just echoing what Marcy had just said, and mainly it is the traffic issue. 15 years ago, there wasn't a soul on Ottawa-Georgetown Road. They got 2 developments right now that are under construction. We have no idea what the impact of that traffic is going to be. And like Marcy said, the horse farm, and now this builder wants to put, 365 homes on there. So there's over 700 additional automobiles. The school that's down the road has got massive traffic when school lets out and goes in during the day. Not to mention even trying, apart from this area here, I'm saying apart from Georgetown Road, I understand Mr. Collier that there's a lot of people that want to come here from around the country, but that does not say that you impact the people that are living here. The traffic is just one issue. A builder comes in, he builds homes, but he doesn't put in traffic lights. He doesn't widen the road. Who's the burden for that? That's really all I have to say.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Chair, there's no other opposition that is signed up to speak.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Matthews.
Mr. Chairman, I intend to recuse myself on this case. Would it be appropriate, though, that if I could ask a couple of questions?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And I can ask direct this to Brian. Brian, under the current zoning, how many lots could the developer do?
Current zoning is zoned A1. You can do 2 dwelling units per acre, so about 280 something lots based on the overall gross acreage. That's just gross. That's not taking out anything for roads or septic tanks or sewers.
Okay,
just
so
gross.
Okay, so may I ask the developer, Marshall, how many approximately? I know you don't know for sure. Approximately how many units will the development have?
I would say 200 or less.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Any other questions?
If Mr. Chair, if I may, let me make a couple of, or at least one comment relative to I think some of the comments that were made, and I think Mr. Matthews just brought up a good point relative to an A1 development that this developer without rezoning could probably do the same amount or more than he's requesting. Usually an A1 to R1, except for density, is usually a pretty easy rezoning to consider because I don't know about anybody else, but typically those are going to be houses up there. Relative to traffic, or at least relative to maybe entrance into this development and out of it, it wasn't a condition from staff because typically we don't always condition an A1 to R1, but we've been pretty consistent up Ottawa-Georgetown Road with decel and left turn lanes depending on volume, and so that can always be required as part of the permit process for platting, and it probably will be in this case, just like it was for some of the other developments up Ottawa-Georgetown Road. So I just wanted to make that comment relative to at least impact, at least in the area of the new development on the existing roadway.
Thank you, Mr. Lehman. Any other questions or comments?
I'll make a motion whenever time is right.
Mr. Chairman, just for consistency, we did not give the applicant the 2 minutes to respond.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you catching me on that. Emily, can you?
Mr. Berry's still in the meeting.
Mr. Berry, you've got an opportunity to respond to the opposition comments you've heard from Planning Commission.
Oh, well, I'd just like to say I certainly understand their concerns. And having grown up just north of there in the Meadowview community, I've lived there most all my life. You know, we're looking at doing a quality, nice development, something that the community can certainly be proud of, understand the concerns, and that's something I think that we've all experienced and had over the years as our communities continue to grow. But, you know, we're not an out-of-town group. We're local guys that take pride in our work, take pride in the area, want to see it thrive, want to see it a nice development go in there. And that's one of our main concerns in being involved in this, is to make sure that it gets done correctly, and it's something that the community can be proud of, and that will fit nicely in and not be taken advantage of.
Thank you, Mr. Berry. Mr. Farmer.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I move that we approve the applicant's request with one condition, and that is no development above the 980 contour that is accessed from Ottawa Georgetown Road.
Second.
We have a motion with some modified condition, and Mr. Farmer, just to make sure we've got that clear, there's only one condition in your motion?
One condition, yes, sir. No access above the 980 contour from Ottawa Georgetown Road.
And that was properly seconded. Thank you, Mr. Payne. Any discussion?
Second.
Any discussion?
Second.
Did you have something, Mr. Coker?
No, second, Mr. Palmer.
Oh, okay. Thank you. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye at roll call.
Lehman?
Aye.
Martin?
Yes.
Coker?
Aye.
Matthews?
Mr. Chairman, I'll recuse.
Okay. Maybe?
Aye.
Parks?
Aye.
Payne?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Ledford?
Yes.
Palmer?
Yes.
Hyatt?
Yes.
Jerome?
Yes.
Farmer?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Bridger. Did you have a comment?
Yeah, just a real quick one. Based on the public feedback, I just want to let folks know that we also do keep an eye on our transportation network. There's a regional transportation plan process that's going to be kicking off next year. And part of that, we do look at modeling future development and where we see, congestion emerging from that and kind of how to begin planning for that. So I just want to also let folks know that there's a regional transportation plan process that happens every 4 years. As Todd will tell you, a lot of the county's projects come through that process. So there's an opportunity for the public to get involved in that starting next year. But also I want folks to know that we do look at future development trends and model that to get a feel for where those hotspots are. So as we plan for the next cycle, we factor that in.
Thank you, Mr. Bridger. Hey, Emily, can we run down these next few cases and you tell me whether or not we have any opposition present, and it'll just maybe save us a little bit of time on item 2. Is there any opposition present?
We have written opposition for case 150, but no one has signed up to speak.
Okay.
And we had written support for case 148, but no actual opposition. The next case that we have people that wish to speak that are on the call for opposition is case 159.
Okay. All right. So we're just going to move through 2, 3, 4, and 5. We've got a staff recommendation to approve. And it's my understanding we don't have any opposition to any of those.
Chairman, just so you know, we do have a request to defer items 151 and 152 before we take action. As I understand, the applicant has requested a 30-day deferral for 151 and 152 is my understanding.
I believe that's a 60-day deferral. We also need to confirm on 152 if that's part of that as well.
Okay, all right. Well, I was trying to speed things up. Mandatory referral 2020-0148.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and it has been properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. On roll.
Lehman.
Aye.
Martin.
Aye.
Coker.
Aye.
Matthews.
Aye.
Maybe. Parks.
Aye.
Payne.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Ledford.
Yes.
Palmer.
Yes.
Hyatt.
Yes.
Barone.
Yes.
Farmer.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Next item on the agenda is 2020-0150. What's the will of the commission?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and it has been properly seconded. Any discussion?
Was there did I hear her say there's some kind of written opposition to that or something?
We did have written opposition to this. I don't know if they're online or not, but the opposition
They're not online.
The opposition was just strictly having more single wides in this general area.
All in favor, please indicate by saying aye on roll call.
Lehman.
Aye.
Martin.
Aye, but I noticed that someone has their hand raised.
Oh, thank you. There is someone named Lena. Lena has not signed up to speak.
Lena, according to our sign-up sheet, the applicant was Michael Huffman with Lena Satterfield at Gmail is the related email address. So I'm thinking it might be the applicant.
Okay. So would you like me to allow her to speak?
Call for the question.
We do have a motion. It has been seconded and we are currently voting. So let's go ahead and finish the vote and then from this person.
Okay. Parks again.
Yes.
Payne.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Ledford.
Yes.
Palmer.
Yes.
Hyatt.
Yes.
Barone.
Yes.
Farmer.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. Emily, can you pull this person in?
Okay. Lena, you should be allowed to speak.
Hey, this is Lena's husband. I'm with next to her right now. Jason, you can hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, yeah. So did you just go ahead and motion to approve the change?
We did. We just approved.
We couldn't get through. So.
Okay, yeah, we couldn't get through. Basically, I was just letting you know that Michael's in the hospital right now, and so he couldn't be here anyway. But if you've already approved it, then I'm not worried about it.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, next case on the agenda is case 2020-0151. And it's my understanding that the applicant's requesting a deferral. Can we hear from the applicant on that?
Yes, that's Jay Bell. Bring him in. Mr. Bell, you should be allowed to speak.
Yes, can you hear me?
We can.
You cannot hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. Yes, I just need a 60-day deferral on this first case to study the intersection that we're proposing a little bit more and just get it right. So I've spoken with some of the residents there, and they want a few adjustments made, and we're very close to having that done. And we just need about 60 days to get it correct.
And Mr. Bell, that would be in regards to both the cases we're looking at, or just the first one?
Just the first one.
Okay.
Move to defer 60 days.
Second.
We have a motion to defer for 60 days and it has been properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye at roll call.
Lehman.
Aye.
Martin.
Yes.
Coker. Coker.
Aye.
Okay. Matthews.
Aye.
Maybe. Parks.
Aye.
Payne.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Ledford.
Yes.
Palmer.
Yes.
Hyatt.
Yes.
Barone.
Yes.
Farmer.
Yeah.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Bridger. Emily, in regards to case 2020-0152, is there any opposition present?
There is not.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve. Who'd that come from? Mr. Maybe, and second by Councilman Ledford.
Correct.
All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Roll call.
Lehman.
Aye.
Martin.
Aye.
Coker.
Yes.
Matthews.
Aye.
Maybe.
Aye.
Parks.
Aye.
Payne.
Yes.
Bailey. Ledford.
Yes.
Yes.
Palmer. Hyatt.
Yes.
Barone.
Yes.
Farmer.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Bridger. On case 2020-0153, we have an application to rezone to UGC, Urban General Commercial Zone. Sorry, just used to seeing from something to something, so it's just missing in the agenda. And it's with condition, it's a staff recommendation to approve with conditions. Emily, is there any opposition present?
There's no opposition.
Move to
Okay,
approve with condition.
well,
Sorry, I'll withdraw.
no, you're good. I just want to make sure we hear from the applicant in regards to the conditions. So if you could just hold the motion for 1 second.
Mr. Chair, I don't see the applicant's name listed, Turney Thompson. However, there is a virtual hand raised with the name of owner. So I'm going to allow this person to speak. I'm guessing that that may be the applicant.
Okay.
Okay.
Who is this on the phone with us?
Hi, this is Turney Thompson.
Okay. And I really only have one question for you. Are you familiar with the conditions that have been recommended by staff?
Yeah, I only have one question about one of the conditions. So in this COVID environment that we're in, a lot of small businesses are relying upon drive up or drive through type service. And so I wanted to get more definition around what the condition meant there at the end on drive throughs will be prohibited.
You know, that's a good question, John.
Sure, that's any type of drive-through establishment has a drive-up window, like a fast food restaurant, drugstore, anything just has a drive-through window.
But it doesn't prevent somebody from doing pickup.
No, you just cannot have the drive-through facility.
So maybe to be clear, exclude that. I mean, we need to make that clarification. Does not include pickup service.
Curbside pickup, or whatever you want to call it, what it's called now.
I think DeBrian was correct. The intention was having like a drive-through, like a dry cleaner kind of thing set up.
Right. Okay. Does that answer your question?
It does. So curbside, what I'm hearing is curbside service would be okay, or drive up is okay. It just can't have a drive-through window.
That is correct. But I think probably to be clear for codes enforcement, we probably need to add the drive-throughs does not include curbside pickup.
Okay.
That way it's clear for you and land development office.
Yeah. Sounds good. Thank you.
Then I amend my motion to include that language.
All right.
Second. I'll second that.
We have a motion to approve Mr. Payne and properly seconded Councilman Mudford. And that was with approve with conditions and amended language clarifying curbside pickup and the difference between it and drive-through windows. Any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye on roll call.
Lehman,
Aye.
Martin,
Yes.
Coker,
Yes.
Matthews,
Aye.
Maybe,
Aye.
Parks,
Aye.
Payne,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Ledford,
Yes.
Palmer,
Yes.
Hyatt,
Yes.
Barone,
Yes.
Farmer.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Emily, do we have any opposition to case 2020-0154?
We do not, Mr. Chair.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve that has been properly seconded.
Who was the seconder for the record?
Matthews.
Matt, thank you.
Any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Roll call.
Lehman,
Aye.
Martin,
Yes.
Coker,
Yes.
Matthews,
Aye.
Maybe,
Aye.
Parks,
Aye.
Payne,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Ledford,
Yes.
Palmer,
Yes.
Hyatt,
Yes.
Barone,
Yes.
Palmer.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Bridger. Emily, is the applicant for Riverton LLC with us?
Yes, Dane Bradshaw is here. Would you like me to allow him to speak?
Yeah, I've got a quick question for him. Dane?
Okay. Dane should be in the meeting.
Yes, I'm here now, and Donna Shepard with AD Engineering also here, probably can answer technical questions better than me, but go ahead, Ethan.
Okay. Emily, is there any opposition to this case?
There is not.
Okay, I might have already asked that, and if so, I'm sorry. Dane or Donna, my question is in regards to these conditions. Are you familiar with these conditions? And if so, do you have any, I guess I'm asking, are you okay with them?
This is Donna Shepard. Can you hear me?
Yes, Donna.
Okay. The only clarification that I wanted to make was, and it's not in the conditions, but in the staff report, listed under proposed R1, it lists a lot width and also setbacks. And the original Riverton zoning conditions and PUD had no setback requirements and no minimum lot width requirements. So I just wanted to make that a matter of record.
I think that,
go ahead, Brian.
I was going to say that we put that in there, Don, on each. That's the current zoning without the PUD. That's just a typical lot size standard. That does not impact your PUD.
All right, and then just to clarify, Dane.
Am I muted? I had a problem with my.
We can hear you.
We hear you.
Okay, sorry. My computer likes to mute on its own. So that was part of the zoning conditions without the PUD overlay. I just wanted to make that clarification and make sure that we weren't carrying those conditions.
No, that's not a condition. That's just the standard R1 lot size and setbacks.
Okay.
We put that in every staff report.
Okay, other than that, we have no objection to the conditions proposed.
Move to approve.
With conditions?
With conditions.
Second.
We have a motion to approve, and it has been properly seconded. I do have one question, since we've got a little bit of time for discussion. John or Brian, where did the maximum density of 12 dwelling units per acre come from? I mean, I just
believe these are the same conditions that were applied last time this case came up. We're just carrying those conditions over, and I do believe that was the density that was shown on the original PUD plan.
Okay, so these were originated by the applicant?
Yes, these are the same conditions that were adopted back in 2018. This plan originally came from the Plan Commission. We're just carrying those conditions over.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye on roll call.
Lehman,
Aye.
Martin,
Aye.
Coker,
Yes.
Matthews,
Aye.
Maybe,
Aye.
Parks,
Aye.
Payne,
Yes.
Bailey,
Aye.
Ledford,
Yes.
Palmer,
Yes.
Hyatt,
Yes.
Barone,
Yes.
Farmer.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, Emily, I could only assume that we do not have any opposition to 2020-0156.
Correct, and neither for 157 either.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve case 2020-0156. Who was that? Sorry.
Who's the second?
Ledford.
Any discussion?
Okay, sorry. I thought Ledford was the motioner. Who was the motioner then?
Payne was the second.
Okay. We had a motion from Councilman Ledford, seconded Commissioner Payne. Any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye on roll call.
Lehman,
Aye.
Martin, sorry.
Aye.
Coker,
Yes.
Matthews,
Aye.
Maybe,
Aye.
Parks,
Aye.
Payne,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Ledford,
Yes.
Palmer,
Yes.
Hyatt,
Yes.
Barone,
Yes.
Farmer.
Yeah.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Bridger. Next case on the agenda is case 2020-0157. And we have a staff recommendation to approve with conditions. Dane or Donna, can you comment on these conditions?
I have none.
Okay.
Move to approve with conditions.
We have a motion to approve with conditions from Councilman Ledford.
Second.
And it has been seconded by Commissioner Lehman. Any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Lehman,
Aye.
Martin, Coker,
Yes.
Matthews,
Aye.
Maybe,
Aye.
Parks,
Aye.
Payne,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Ledford,
Yes.
Palmer,
Yes.
Hyatt,
Yes.
Barone,
Yes.
Farmer.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, item 11 on our agenda, we move to the tail end of the agenda. So we'll
Mr. Chairman, before we start on the next case, which is 2020-159, staff would like to have a little bit of comments on this case, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's fine. Do we have any opposition?
We do.
Yes, there are several people that would like to speak.
Okay, and so before we hear from opposition, Mr. Schultz.
Yes, this request is for a special exceptions permit for a short-term vacation rental in an R1 zone in the county. Staff made a mistake and actually took this application. If you look at the R1 zone in the county, short-term vacation rentals are not allowed in the R1 zone. So this case, we made a mistake in taking the case. We simply missed that. I did go back over the years just to double check to make sure we've not done that in the past. So looking back all the way back to 2009 when this was implemented, we have not ever taken a case for STVR in the R1 zone. Every one of those have been either A1, R2A, or A1 zone. So in reality, we did have a staff recommendation to approve, but this is not allowed in that zone. I think John may want to add more to that, maybe potential next steps. If you all want to recommend that staff explore the option of adding as a special exceptions permit in the R1 zone, STVRs. So I double checked again, went back to the original resolution from 2009, just to make sure we didn't make any mistake. But when the STVR was added in 2008, 2009, it never, ever included the R1 zone as a permitted use. So again, sorry about that. We did make a mistake in taking the application on this case.
The chair, that would be our recommendation to probably defer for 60, if you decided to defer 60 days and have direct staff to develop an amendment to R1 to allow that as a special permit, which we would then present to the December PC meeting, which would then of course go to the county in January for final action. But just want to let you know about that situation.
So yeah, you cannot take action on this case.
That's
I
right.
mean, again, because it's not, there's nothing to go to. So you as a, I guess your options would be to defer it till you see fit that we create this new special exceptions permit, or leave it as is.
Or withdraw.
That's taking action.
Well, it's true. There's actually nothing to take action on because the case doesn't really exist. There's nothing to
It does
go to.
exist. You need to move on.
Well, I do think we should move on. And I would agree. But I mean, we need to refund this applicant their application cost and explain that to them. And then when there's an appropriate special permit, they can be notified and told to reapply, right?
Yes, we'll be glad to refund their money, applicants' money.
Okay.
So
Right.
I guess does that need further discussion, John, about do we need to move
Well, I
forward
guess
with?
it'd be good to know, do you all have any concerns with us developing a special permit option in the R1? Because that's
Or leave it as is. I think just my thoughts going back to why it was never put in the 2008 or 2009 ordinance was because I think we struggle with these every time we have one in a subdivision. What do we look at when we're reviewing this? And that may have been the reason back in 2008 to exclude it from the R1, because typically R1 you do have it's a subdivision.
Mr. Chairman, can I chime in on this?
Councilman Woodford.
I'm going to recommend you let this sleeping dog lie. Putting this in R1 in a neighborhood, we have the short-term vacation rentals in an urban overlay in the city, and we also have it written in our laws for short-term vacation rentals that it cannot supersede any HOA covenants and regulations. And I think that's something I really would rather hear from Commissioner Martin on this, being in the county, but I think there was wisdom in not putting this in. My 2 cents.
All right.
Mr. Chair, would you like to hear from the opposition?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to be rude, but I mean, the reason why we would not hear from the opposition is because we don't have a case in front of us.
Correct.
Because you know, it's just an error which happens, and so I don't know that there's anything for us to really give consideration to, since there is no special permit for short-term vacation rental allowed in R1 in the county. So that being said, we'll just move on in the agenda. Is that okay? I mean, we can just move on, right, John? There's no action.
That's correct.
Correct.
All right, next item on the agenda is case 2020-0162. And we have a staff recommendation to approve with conditions. Is there any opposition present, Emily?
No, there's not.
All right, is the applicant present?
Yes. Would you like me to allow them to speak?
Yeah, I'd like to speak to the applicant just real quick.
Okay, Kyle Hawley should be in the meeting.
Yes, can you hear me?
Hey, Kyle, we can hear you. This is Chairman Collier. I've got one quick question for you. Are you familiar with the condition here that you be limited to one curb cut on Smith Gap Road?
Yes.
You take any issue with that?
Nope.
Move to approve with condition.
We have a motion to approve with conditions.
Who's the seconder on that, just for the record?
Matthews.
Okay.
It was properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Lehman.
Aye.
Martin.
Yes.
Coker.
Yes.
Matthews.
Aye.
Maybe.
Aye.
Parks.
Aye.
Payne.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Ledford.
Yes.
Palmer.
Yes.
Hyatt.
Yes.
Barone.
Yes.
Farmer.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Bridger. Next case on the agenda is case 2020-0163. Emily, do we have any opposition on this case?
We do not. And just for your information, Mr. Chair, there is nobody else in the meeting that has signed up to speak in opposition for any of the remaining cases. There's just been one more written comment submitted for case 168. 168.
Okay.
Move to approve staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion for Mr. Payne, and it has been properly seconded to approve. That was seconded by Councilman Ledford. Any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye on roll call.
Lehman.
Aye.
Martin.
Yes.
Coker.
Yes.
Matthews.
Aye.
Maybe.
Aye.
Parks.
Aye.
Payne.
Yep.
Bailey.
Yes.
Ledford.
Yes.
Palmer.
Yes.
Hyatt.
Yes.
Varone.
Yes.
Farmer.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Bridger. Next case on the agenda is case 2020-0164. And this has a staff recommendation to approve. There is no opposition present.
Mr. Chairman, we did, I think, I see the hand raised of Caitlin Sims, who represents the applicant. We did get two different PUD plans with this case. Let me go to those. There are a little bit of differences. This is the original PUD plan application that was submitted with the case. It doesn't show any townhomes. It shows single family homes. And the second site plan, which came in last Monday, now shows townhomes on some of these lots, and the PUD boundary changed just a little bit to the left. So I think they want, the applicant wishes to have this PUD plan replace the one we received as part of the application package. Same number of acres, density staying the same, just the mix of units have changed.
What does that do to staff?
Staff would probably most likely recommend approve. There's no difference. It just shows now what the true intent of this development is, because before it was all single family. Maybe the applicant wants to speak further on that. Maybe
All right.
Move to approve.
You have a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mr. Payne, second by Councilman Ledford. Any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Lehman.
Aye.
Martin.
Aye.
Coker.
Yes.
Matthews.
Aye.
Maybe.
Aye.
Parks.
Aye.
Payne.
Yep.
Bailey.
Aye.
Ledford.
Yes.
Palmer.
Yes.
Hyatt.
Yes.
Varone.
Yes.
Farmer.
Yes.
to be clear, that was the new or revised PUD plan.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Bridger. Next case on the agenda is case 2020-0165. And this case is to rezone from M1 manufacturing zone to R1 residential zone. And it has a staff recommendation to deny the R1 residential zone and approve RTZ residential townhome zero lot line zone. Is the applicant present?
Mr. Chair, the applicant had to leave the call to go to work. I did talk to them on the phone and he said he is okay with staff recommendation.
Move to approve.
Recommendation.
We have a motion to approve. Who was that? The motion to approve?
That was me, Ledford.
Okay, you're fighting over it. One of you's got to take the second, I guess.
I'll take the second. Thank you.
There you go, Mr. Maybe's second. Any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Lehman.
Aye.
Martin.
Yes.
Coker.
Yes.
Matthews.
Aye.
Maybe.
Aye.
Parks.
Aye.
Payne.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Ledford.
Yes.
Palmer.
Yes.
Hyatt.
Yes.
Varone.
Yes.
Farmer.
Yeah.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Bridger. Hey, Brian, just real quick, and I do mean quick, Can you tell us why you would not approve R1 and you recommended RTZ?
Let's see. Based on the land use plan, the land use plan had I think a higher, I think mixed residential, John, I can't remember, but we felt RTZ was a better, more appropriate zone to comply with the land use plan than R1 zone. We're okay with either one, but the RTZ zone made more sense based on the land use plan.
It gives them the opportunity to actually, if they wanted to develop more intensity, they can. I recall, I think it was urban residential was the policy.
Urban residential, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, the zone, they still, for their development program, they can do what they're proposing. Just a more intensive zone gives them more flexibility.
Okay, yeah, I'm just curious because it's not often we would see a recommendation to deny a lower zone, recommend a more intense zone. So next case on the agenda is mandatory referral 2020-0167. Right-of-way closure and abandonment. Staff recommendation to approve. We don't have any opposition from it.
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion to approve, and it has been properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Lehman.
Aye.
Martin.
Yes.
Coker.
Yes.
Matthews. Matthews. Maybe.
Aye.
Parks.
Aye.
Payne.
Yep.
Bailey.
Yes.
Ledford.
Yes.
Palmer.
Yes.
Hyatt.
Yes.
Barone.
Yes.
Farmer. Motion passes.
Thank you. Next case on the agenda is case 2020-0168. And this is an application to rezone from residential R1 residential to RTZ. Has a staff recommendation to deny. Emily, is the applicant present?
Yes, the applicant is present and there was no opposition signed up to speak. However, we did receive some written comments.
Okay, thank you. We'll hear from Mr. Schultz first, then the applicant.
This is case 2020-168 to rezone from R1 to RTZ. Proposed use is residential. Location of this request is 7514 Austin Drive. You can see the location of the site highlighted on the screen in the yellow. This is a view of the site looking from Austin Drive. This is a view north of the site, the single family detached dwellings. West of the site along Austin Drive. East of the site along Austin Drive. It's currently zoned R1 to the north, east, and west of this site is R1 to the south, and actually to the south as well. But further south, there is R2. If you look at the east of the zoning map, further east, there is R2, but there is no RTZ in this general vicinity or general location. Everything around this piece of property is single family detached dwellings. This is a single family detached neighborhood. This is in the Highway 58 plan, which is adopted in 2002. The plan recommends low density residential, which is defined as detached single family dwellings with a density of 1 to 4 dwelling units per acre. The request is not compatible with adopted land use plan. The request is not compatible with development form because it's introduced a new form in this neighborhood, which is again single family detached dwellings. The request creates a lot that is not compatible with the requested RT zone regulations as the density exceeds that. So staff recommends to deny the request.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Emily, can you pull the applicant into the meeting?
Yes, I'll bring in the applicant, Ahmad Jada.
Oh, yes. It was disapproved because of low density. Is that why it was disapproved? It's going to be partially, not the whole property, zoned to RTZ. It's part of the property where there is existing structure there. I wonder why this would be disapproved really isn't a big of a deal. I mean, to me, there is existing structure. That's why I went to the hassle of rezoning it to be able to separate it and remodel it to meet the requirements of the city.
Mr. Schultz,
Yes.
can you help us understand exactly maybe better the intent?
It was very hard for us too. I think it's wanting to put 2 townhome units on this property. This is the site plan.
There is only one structure. It's existing structure over there. And I just need to separate that structure, subdivided.
He wants to subdivide it. That's what it is,
Yes.
the single family dwelling.
Yeah, to a small single family. If there was no structure, I wouldn't go through the hassle of rezoning and subdividing, but there is existing structure. If I can benefit from it, and that will also reflect to the city, that would also benefit having, those 2 properties that already exist in this location.
So I think I'm understanding that the intent here is that the property would be subdivided.
Yes.
And the minimum lot size that is proposed here requires that it be rezoned to RTZ.
Yes, it's only that little small section of it, as you can see through the map.
Okay. So just to clarify that, that building could be left and that property subdivided. It would just have to have a 75-foot lot frontage and a handful of other things, right, Brian?
If it's zoned R1, you have to have 60 foot of frontage and a 7,500 square foot. He could seek variance request. By going to the RTZ, that takes that out of the equation. And I'm not sure, maybe John can update us on where the new RTZ amendment at City Council, if that was approved.
It was, but this is outside that, is it not?
It is.
It is.
Okay.
So it exceeds the density requirements.
All right.
So I have a question for staff.
Councilman Lifford.
Brian, if that 48, I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time saying it, 48.21, if that were increased to 60, what does that do for us?
Well, he still has, if he can do 60, that would meet the R1 requirements. You still have the issue of the lot size of 7,500 square foot.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any questions for the applicant?
I mean, is there a way I can benefit whether keeping it with R1 or RTZ?
Boza.
Well, I guess I don't know if the applicant owns the property to the left of this screen.
I own the property that is somewhere here on those in this corner.
Okay, we don't see your screen, but
I assume he's talking about this section to the left.
Yes.
Okay, I think everybody understands what the issue is, right?
Yes, sir.
That's nod. So the applicant has done a good job of explaining what the issue is, and we all understand what it is. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure everybody at least understands what's happening. The owner wants to subdivide this property and needs to rezone it to RTZ in order to meet the minimum lot size requirements that would be he would be subject to if he were to subdivide it. And that other building to the left is not there. There's only the one building to the right.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Mr. Farmer.
If we voted to deny this application as staff recommended, could he come back or as probably just a staff issue if he was to have 105 feet on Middle Drive, would that be acceptable? He could still come back and do this if we voted to deny it?
By that, you mean a subdivision plat?
A minor subdivision plat.
Yes. Yes, if this is denied and he draws up a plat that meets the requirements of the R1, staff can approve that plat. But if he needs a variance, that will come in front of you guys as a planning commission to act on that variance.
I haven't done many minor subdivision plats over the years. Is that something that somebody could come in and you help them at the desk, Brian?
Yeah, and especially if he has a local surveyor, they'll know the questions. They'll email us. It's fairly quick. You're looking at 10 days from start to finish on that route. Now, the variance does add complexity to it. That adds
Brian,
more time.
Related to that, just one quick question. As far as I know, frontage PC can do, but can PC do a lot size variance?
They can. It's part of the zoning
be
code.
sure we're clear on that. Okay.
Yeah.
Also, just for the applicant's information, the Development Resource Center is currently closed to the public, so we can assist via telephone or conference call or email. We cannot meet in person.
Sure.
If we vote to deny this, 100%, he can come back with another application to PC or a minor subdivision or a minor subdivision.
He could come back to planning commission as far as subdivision. Now, if it's denied at city council on the zoning, he could not come back next month or 2 months from now to rezone this property.
Right.
Now, subdivision plat, yes, he can, but as far as zoning, no, if it's denied at city council.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions or comments?
Now, to my understanding, I can keep it as R1 and yet I can still subdivide it, or do I still have problems with the variance?
Well, this commission hasn't taken any action yet, but
Mr. Chair,
Councilman Ledford.
if this case were withdrawn, then it would not go on to city council. And I fear from what I'm seeing and given that this would be considered and labeled a spot zone, which we are not kind to, I would recommend to the, I can't make any recommendation to the applicant, but if it were withdrawn, the applicant could come back tomorrow, correct, Brian? And start the new process?
Yes, as far as subdivision plat, yes, he can start that anytime.
Okay. I just throwing that out there.
I would also add that I'm ready to make, I'm not making a motion, but I'm ready to make a motion to deny the RTZ which would hinder the applicant's further choices. So,
because it will go on to city council.
Yeah, and just to add some complexity to this, if it is approved RTZ and he's divided the way it is, he would exceed the maximum density allowed in the RTZ, which then means you have to go in front of the BOZA to get a variance.
That's where
So
I was
it's
at
another
earlier.
step.
Yeah. Yep. That's where I was at earlier. Okay.
Okay.
Did you understand the, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I'll let you walk this through.
You're doing a good job. Okay with it. This question is directed to the applicant. Do you understand that this commission is leaning towards denying your request, and that it has been mentioned that you could withdraw, which would allow for you to explore future opportunities that might be better suited for you? But I mean, just based on what I'm seeing here, this commission is not going to approve your request. It's going to deny your request.
I see.
Now, we can't solve the problem for you today during this call, but or during this meeting, but it's been mentioned that it could be to your benefit to withdraw, which all you'd have to do is say, I'd like to withdraw.
Okay, I would like to withdraw.
Who to withdraw?
We have a motion to withdraw.
Second.
Has been properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Lehman.
Aye.
Martin.
Aye.
Coker.
Yes.
Matthews.
Aye.
Maybe.
Aye.
Parks.
Aye.
Payne.
Yep.
Bailey.
Yes.
Ledford.
Yes.
Palmer.
Yes.
Hyatt.
Yes.
Barone.
Yes.
Farmer.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, and if the applicant's still in our meeting, that you don't, Emily, you don't need to bring them back in, but just to explain to you what's happened, you've withdrawn the case. Planning Commission's not likely ever going to approve the zone that you requested, and you know what you need to do is follow back up with your surveyors and engineers and explain to them what happened and see how you can fix the problems that you've got there. Next case on the agenda is mandatory referral 2020-0160. And this has a staff recommendation to approve and has no opposition. What's the will of the commission?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and it has been properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Lehman.
Aye.
Martin. Coker.
Yes.
Matthews.
Aye.
Maybe. Maybe. Okay. Parks.
Aye.
Payne.
Yep.
Bailey.
Yes.
Ledford.
Yes.
Palmer.
Yes.
Hyatt.
Yes.
Varone.
Yes.
Farmer.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Roger, next case on the agenda is mandatory referral 2020-0161. And this has no opposition and the staff recommendation to approve. What's the will of the commission? Mr.
Second.
Motion to approve. Councilman Ledford seconded that. Any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye on roll call.
Lehman.
Aye.
Martin. Coker.
Yes.
Matthews.
Aye.
Maybe.
Aye.
Parks.
Aye.
Payne.
Yep.
Bailey.
Yes.
Ledford.
Yes.
Palmer.
Yes.
Hyatt.
Yes.
Varone.
Yes.
Farmer.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Mr. Bridger, this last case on the agenda is one that I would need to recuse myself from. And
Yes.
so for that reason, I would turn the meeting over to Todd Lehman. Is there any other business that I need to plan on coming back for?
No, I just got a quick program update, but I can cue you in after if you like. It's just what's coming up in November.
Okay. All right. With that, I'll turn the meeting over to our Vice Chairman, Mr. Lehman, and I will leave.
Thank you, Chairman Collier. Backing up on our agenda to the item that was put to the end is mandatory referral 2020-0158. It's a mandatory referral for a right-of-way abandonment and closure. It's got a staff recommendation to approve. Emily, is there any opposition to?
No opposition.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay. Have a motion to approve and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Roll call. All those in favor say aye.
Martin.
Coker.
Matthews. Maybe.
Aye.
Parks.
Aye.
Payne.
Yep.
Bailey.
Yes.
Ledford.
Yes.
Palmer.
I recuse.
Okay. Recused. Noted. Hyatt.
Yes.
Varone.
Yes.
Farmer.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, John. Now's the time for any public comments on non-agenda items. Emily, do we have any public comments?
We do not.
Okay, John, do you want to make a comment here?
Yeah, just as a couple quick program updates. Again, thank you all the policing members who came out for our multimodal report discussion. I thought that was great conversation. We will be trying to schedule a follow-up workshop in probably January or February. We'll probably coordinate that with the timing of the wrap-up of the Chattanooga zoning code assessment. So just know that that's coming. I thought it was a very productive conversation. Appreciate the feedback and discussion at PC. At the December PC meeting, we'll give you a more detailed update on the Area 11 plan. We're pretty close to wrapping up the technical report for that. So we'll give you all an overview of some of the key findings. This is for the East Brainerd, Hamilton Place area. We'll give you an overview of that report. And I also wanted to let you know, I think as we mentioned during the meeting, that the council did pass the RTZ zone amendment. So that's something that will provide us a tool. As you know, we're doing small lot residential development in that River to Ridge area. We at least have a better tool compared to UGC for those kind of small lot residential developments. So that's all I've got.
Okay, thank you, John. Item approval of the Planning Commission minutes of October 12th, 2020. Do I have a motion to approve the
So
minutes?
moved. Move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay. I have a motion to approve the minutes in a second. All those in favor, roll call, say aye.
Lehman. I'm sorry about it. Martin.
Aye.
Coker. Matthews. Maybe.
Aye.
Parks.
Aye.
Payne.
Yep.
Bailey.
Yes.
Ledford.
Yes.
Palmer.
Yes.
Hyatt.
Yes.
Barone.
Yes.
Farmer.
Yes.
And that's it. Motion passes.
Thank you, John. Well, I appreciate everybody's input today. With a motion to adjourn, we'll be adjourned. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, so moved. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll stop
Yeah,
recording
everybody.
and live streaming.
Thank you.
Good work, everyone. See you.